Marjorie Walsh lay in her bed, frail and withered, the dim light of the bedside lamp casting long shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The doctors had said she had weeks, maybe days. Cancer had taken almost everything from her, her strength, her beauty, her hope, but she wasn't ready to go, not yet. She clung to one thing from her past, a dusty, ornate jack-in-the-box she had found in the attic just a few days earlier. It had belonged to her grandmother, a relic from a time long gone. The box was exquisite, with carved wooden sides, intricate paintings of jesters, and a golden crank that gleamed even through the dust of the years. She remembered playing with it as a child, the jester's face popping out with a joyful squeal of surprise. But now, as she held it in her trembling hands, there was something sinister about it, something that made her heart race with an uneasy excitement. On a whim, or perhaps a desperate need to feel something other than the numbing pain, she turned the crank. The familiar tinny tune began to play, but it was slower, deeper, more menacing than she remembered. Each note sent a shiver down her spine, and for a moment she considered stopping. But something compelled her to keep going, to finish the melody. The music wound down, and with a soft click the lid sprang open. But there was no jester inside, no colorful figure with a painted smile. Instead, a dark, swirling mist poured out, filling the room with a thick, suffocating darkness. Marjorie tried to scream, but the sound died in her throat as the mist coalesced into a shape, a tall, shadowy figure with eyes like burning embers. "You summoned me," it whispered, its voice a dry rasp like dead leaves scraping against stone. Marjorie couldn't move, couldn't breathe. She could only watch as the figure stepped closer, towering over her frail form. I didn't mean to," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. "But you did," the demon hissed, a cruel smile stretching across its face. "And now, you must pay the price." She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, the pulse of life slipping away with each beat. "Please," she begged, tears streaming down her face. "I don't want to die, not like this." The demon's eyes flickered with something that might have been amusement. "You wish to live?" "Yes," she whispered, clinging to the last thread of hope. "I'll do anything." The demon leaned closer, its breath cold as the grave. "There is a way, but it comes with a price." "Anything," Marjorie repeated, desperation clawing at her insides. "Your illness can be cured, your life restored," the demon said. "But in return, you must do something for me." What do you want?" The demon's smile widened. 6 souls. 6 innocent lives. Bring them to me, and you shall live." Marjorie recoiled, the horror of the demand sinking in. I can't do that." "Then you will die," the demon replied coldly. "The choice is yours." She hesitated, the weight of the decision crushing her. But then the pain flared up, sharp and unbearable, reminding her of what awaited if she refused. Slowly she nodded. "I'll do it." "Good," the demon purred, its voice filled with dark satisfaction. "You have 1 year. If you fail, your soul will be mine." With that, the demon vanished, the mist dissolving into the air. The jack-in-the-box snapped shut with a final, ominous click. Marjorie lay there trembling, but as the minutes passed, she realized something miraculous. Her pain was gone. The weakness that had plagued her for months had evaporated, replaced with a strength she hadn't felt in years. She was healed. But at what cost? The days turned into weeks, and Marjorie found herself becoming something she never thought possible. A predator. She searched for her victims with cold precision, choosing those who wouldn't be missed. The homeless man on the corner, the runaway teenager who had crossed her path, the reclusive widow who lived down the street. One by one, she brought them to the jack-in-the-box, turning the crank and watching in cold horror as the demon claimed their souls. With each victim, the box grew heavier, the demon's presence more oppressive. Marjorie's nightmares were filled with their faces, their screams echoing in her mind. But she couldn't stop. She couldn't go back to the way things were before. She had tasted life again, and she would do anything to keep it. Finally, she had only one soul left to claim. One more innocent life before the deal was fulfilled. But as she stood over her final victim, a young child no older than 5, something in her broke. She couldn't do it. She couldn't take the life of someone so pure, so undeserving of this horror. The jack-in-the-box sat on the floor beside her, its golden crank glinting in the dim light. She reached for it, her hand trembling, but then stopped. Instead, she turned to the child and whispered, "Run. Run as fast as you can." The child didn't need to be told twice. He bolted from the room, leaving Marjorie alone with her tormentor. "You failed!" the demon's voice hissed from the shadows, the room growing colder, darker. "You know what that means?" Marjorie nodded, tears streaming down her face. She knew there was no escape, no bargaining. She had made her choice, and now she would pay the price. The demon stepped out of the shadows, the jack-in-the-box clutched in its clawed hand. "Your soul is mine," it whispered, a cruel smile spreading across its face. Marjorie closed her eyes as the demon opened the box, the haunting melody playing one last time. The lid snapped open and she felt a cold, dark hand reach into her chest, pulling at her very essence. And then, there was nothing but darkness. The jack-in-the-box sat on the floor of Marjorie's empty house, its lid sealed shut, waiting. Somewhere in the darkness, the demon waited too, patient as death. It knew that one day, someone else would find the box, turn the crank, and set it free again. And when they did, the game would begin anew.